Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I am here today with a addition to my what I read in June. So these are all the books that I read in the month of June this year, and they're going to go into my mini album. Now I have everything in here. I didn't really cut anything out, but here's the issue. Um, Halfway through this video, my camera ran out of memory, and I didn't realize it. So I think I missed two books, like showing you the cards and stuff, doing the cards and stuff for two different books. So I'll just talk about them as I talk about all the other books here, and you'll see them in the close-ups, but when I do the flip through. So I'm sorry about that. Um, but yeah, I wish when my camera ran out of memory space that it would alert me somehow, but it doesn't. It just flashes on the screen, but my camera's over my head, so I can't see the screen when I'm filming, down like this. So it's kind of annoying, but so I apologize for that, but I'm glad I caught it earlier, semi early. I only missed two of them. So, all right. I read a total of 7 books in the month of June, I believe. Books 60 through 66. So yeah, 7 books. And I'm going to go ahead. I stamped my numbers on my little stamped books that I have there that I'm doing to keep track of how, like, which number, I do it in order that I read them, and I'm keeping that throughout the entire year. I'm already now over 100 books, guys. So I've definitely hit my Goodreads goal. My Goodreads goal was 100, and I'm over that now. I think I hit 100 in September, I think. So yeah, well over 100. Oh, was it September? It's September, October. I don't remember. But definitely there. So lots more books to come. Okay, so I have all the cards, all the book images and the numbers on the cards. So now I'm going to go ahead and start embellishing. So the first one here is First We Were Four. This is by Alexandra Sirawi. This is a young adult book that follows a group of friends in high school, and they kind of create their own little secret society. They have a very interesting friendship between the four of them, and it's 2 boys and 2 girls, and they end up creating the secret society. It's almost like a cult because they come up with rituals and rules and all these things, and then they do specific things out in the community, and it's all, no one knows who's doing these things, and they kind of get a little bit of a reputation and almost have like a following as well. So it was interesting, and their whole premise is that they're getting revenge, I guess, on what they consider wrongdoing. So it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was definitely like not a super action-packed book, but it was good. I did enjoy it. So yeah, I gave that one 4 stars there. I'm going to talk a little bit ahead just because I'm going to have 2 books to talk about in a second here when my camera runs out. But so that one was pretty good. The next one that I have, as you can see up there on the top there, is The Killing Type, and that's by Jane Corey. Now that one is actually a short story. It's not a full novel, and I got it from NetGalley, and it was just because I had heard of the author before and heard good things about the author. So I went ahead and got it from NetGalley, which is a digital review site. So I had it on my Kindle, and I went ahead and read it. And it was fine. I ended up giving it 3 stars only because I feel like the premise was really good, but I would have wanted a full novel. I felt like it was something that really needed a full novel. It's about 2 women who are meeting for coffee. They're actually sisters. They're meeting for coffee, and they're talking about someone who was killed. And yeah, and that's the whole like one scene of that conversation is the entire short story. And like I said, I think it had the potential to really be a good full-length novel, but it just wasn't that. So I gave it 3 stars. I'll definitely read more from that author, though. I have another book of hers on my shelf, like a full one. And since this takes place in a coffee shop, I am going to use some coffee things here to embellish it. Okay, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about Daisy Jones and the Six, which is the next one up there. And that one is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And I loved that book so much. She's become one of my favorite authors. And I read two of her books this year, and now I want to read all of them because they were both 5-star books for me. But Daisy Jones and the Six follows a band that was popular in the 70s called Daisy Jones and the Six. And they came together and made like this amazing album and went on tour and everything. And they just all of a sudden were not making, like, they broke up very quickly and without really any explanation. And so this book is told in a bunch of interviews many, many years after this happened. And you're finding out exactly what happened through people who were in the band and people who were on tour with them and people who knew them and everything. The audiobook was fantastic. That's how I actually read that book. And then after that, I read How Not to Die Alone by Richard Roper, which is a adult book about a man who accidentally tells all his co-workers that he's married and has children, but he does not. And it just kind of accidentally happens, and then he has to live up to that facade. But it gets a little bit tricky when he meets a woman at work that he falls in love with. So, yeah. That was pretty good too. I gave it 4 stars. Okay, so this one here is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. This is a young adult book about a girl who is mourning the loss of her boyfriend who accidentally drowned. And you see her kind of grieving, and she finds comfort with a boy who she goes to school with who is like not someone that she would ever really consider herself to be attracted to, I guess you could say. But it did have a lot to do with water. She had a diving background, so I thought this diving woman from that chipboard sheet was perfect, and I knew I had that, so I went and grabbed it and put that on there. So that was nice to use her up, and it goes along with the story. And I enjoyed that one. I gave it 3 stars. It was very young adult, very high school drama type things, but it was still, a decent read. Okay, so now I read a horror book. This is called Nosferatu. This is by Joe Hill. This book is actually written by Stephen King's son, and it definitely felt like Stephen King. It was very, just had that Stephen King vibe, I guess you could say. It was gritty, it was weird, it was crazy, it was scary. I really liked it. So this follows a young girl who travels on her bicycle, which is why I went and grabbed this bike puffy sticker, because I knew I had a bike somewhere, and it took me a little bit to find it, but I did find it, and then I layered it on top of that little circle there that has some splotches, which I thought was kind of like, could look like blood a little bit. But she crosses this magical bridge on her bike, and then that bridge ends up transporting her to places where she needs to go, even if she doesn't realize it. There is also a very, very scary villain who wants to take little children to this place called Christmas Land, and he's not okay, and he likes children. And oh yeah, there's vampires. So that's like the main thing here is that there's vampires. And yeah, it was crazy. I really did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. But yeah, just, man, it was insane. And I definitely want to read some more from Joe Hill. So, okay. And the last one is The Assassin's Blade. This is by Sarah J. Maas. This is a series of prequel novellas to the Throne of Glass series that she writes. So these are 5 short stories that all take place, and each story leads up to the beginning of the first book in the series. And I really liked it. I really love this series. I'm reading through the whole thing right now. I'm actually just about to finish book number 4, I believe. Yeah, book number 4. I'm going to probably finish that tonight. And so these stories were just like more about the main character and about how she got to where she is and all that stuff. So it was really good. I didn't love all the stories. I think there were a couple of them that I would have rated a little bit lower. So I gave the whole thing as a whole 4 stars, just because I didn't absolutely love every single story. But many of them were very important and gave you some more background on some of the characters that you learn about in the series as a whole. So I made sure I got that sword sticker. because I knew I had that handy. And then I used a heart, and then I used a little banner that says it's the little things, I believe. Yeah, it's little things. And that's because these are just like little short stories. So I thought that was kind of cute. But as a whole, I gave the entire thing 4 stars. And that was book number 66 for the year. So that's pretty awesome. All right, I'm going to have a flip through here for you so you can see it a little bit up close. But there's Daisy Jones right there. I use some of the colors like the yellows and oranges and stuff. And then How Not to Die Alone is up on top there. And I used a little thing that says keeping it real because, you know, he was not keeping it real. He was kind of lying to everybody. And I liked how it looks like a little, you know, cross stitch type thing. So I thought that was appropriate. Okay, so that is what I read in the month of June. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you again soon. Bye.